In a small, forgotten town surrounded by dark forests, there lived a master named Stanislav. He was known for his unique craft. He created exquisite sculptures from bones. It was said that his art was not merely a trade, but true magic, although not everyone knew where the materials for his creations came from. In the evening, when the sun dipped below the horizon, strange noises and rustling could be heard in his workshop, and the master would dive into his dark thoughts. One night, when the moon shone particularly brightly, Stanislav invited his loyal servant, Yaroslav, to the table. In the workshop, unreliable shadows stirred, and strange figures flickered in the corners, only partially illuminated by candlelight. Yaroslav the master began, pouring dark liquid into a cup. "How many times, meeting my guests, have you never seen anyone off at the door?" Yaroslav, hearing the question, simply smiled. He always knew that he served a man whose passions went beyond the ordinary. "I have always loved my difficult job," he replied, rubbing his hands together. "At night, I sit and watch over my knife, carving figures from bones. I cherish my craft and adore my guests." The master smiled in response, and at that moment, a cold wind swept through the room, causing the doors to creak ominously. Stanislav lifted his gaze and, as if catching the aura of the night, proclaimed, "In those days when I am in the mood, sitting by the fire, I sort through skulls." He raised a candle, and the flame illuminated his scarred face. "All those who wish to stretch their bones a little tonight, the master invites you as guests." Yaroslav merely nodded, feeling a chill run down his spine. The bones the master used felt too familiar. Within them lay a strange connection to those who had previously crossed the threshold of this workshop. After all, he had never seen how these guests left. At that moment, he noticed a light smoke gathering in the corner, forming the outlines of a figure. "You are wasteful, master. Your art is not just beautiful statues, it is a sacrifice," the figure pronounced, and the dimness in the corner suddenly glowed with fiery eyes. Stanislav laughed in reply. "Yes, my soul demands. Fruits," he uttered, as his voice sounded like the grinding of bones. "The bony tops and skull carvings are just the beginning. I create something greater. I create memories." Yaroslav jumped to his feet. He felt the cold sweat trickling down his back. He saw how around them lost souls began to gather, filled with sorrow. Each of them, at one time, had their own beliefs, but now they appeared merely as shadows of those beliefs. "You have turned your loved ones into your art," Yaroslav screamed. "Don't you understand? This is inhumane." "What is humanity?" Stanislav replied, his voice a rasp. "They chose their fate. They come to me like bees to honey. I merely harvest the fruits of their decisions." That night, when the wind blew anew, the master showed his servant strange figures full of fear and pain, yet embodying a kind of beauty. Yaroslav could not bear to look at it, but his celebration was crushed by emotions. "To create is to kill," Yaroslav Stanislav said, raising the knife into the air. "I have created my world." The servant felt his resolve breaking as he witnessed the master's madness unfold. He realized how his own soul began to leave his body. With a light laugh, Stanislav declared, "Now you are my guest. You will remember me and my creations." Love thrashed about, but it was in vain. The moment his essence began to dissipate, he understood that he had joined the others. Stanislav, driven to madness, continued to create his exquisite works. Each skull, each bone embraced his labor. And every time the light of the moon filtered through the workshop windows, Stanislav assembled new victims. He summoned his dark power and began his evening gatherings, turning his workshop into a hell on earth. From that day on, in the town, a new legend emerged about the master who carved souls from skulls. And every time a bell tolled, the townsfolk looked toward the forest, sensing the approaching evil with the potential to take their own souls as part of a new creation. If anyone continued to wonder what had happened to Yaroslav, answers were elusive. In the end, it was mere silence, shadows, and fear together. They became part of the legend of the master, who invited his guests and claimed them for eternal torment.